Hello, and welcome to another live stream. It's another Friday. Today we have something very, very special. As you guys can see, there's three people here today. So super excited for that. Today's topic will be obviously from invisible to invincible. And so today we have Michael and Beatrice. Hello, welcome. Hello, guys.
Hey, hey.
Hey, hey.
Today's going to be super exciting. As you guys already know, it's an interactive live stream. So go ahead and just say what's up. Give us some energy. You guys can see the live stream chat, yeah? Beatrice and Michael.
Yeah.
And now,
Wait.
Amazing. Everybody say hello if you're here already. Ask questions. We're going to be giving away some goodies and some nice little gifts for everyone joining here today. So we appreciate that. And super excited to just provide value, obviously. How you feeling, Michael? How you feeling, Beatrice?
I'm amazing. I'm excited. Let's get into it.
Hell yeah.
Beatrice has already got the glasses. I was going to say goggles. Should I get some goggles?
Oh, no.
Should I get some goggles in? Should I be like
your
this?
goggles or something.
Like this? Like, hey, guys, welcome.
Ready
No,
to go to the club. We got the tequila. It's all sorted.
it's all here. It's going to be an amazing story. And so as we get started, we have a little bit of a program set today just to provide some value. But again, please feel free to ask questions and get involved. And so I want to kick things off with our own little individual stories of how we went from invisible to invincible. This is going to be super interesting. I've heard a little bit of this already, but I'm excited for you guys to hear it. So who wants to go first? Who wants to take the floor first? Who wants to take the story time, little fireside chat opportunity first? I want to hear Michael's. I want to hear Michael's first. No pressure.
Hex, yeah, go.
No pressure. Am I still invisible? I don't know. No. Okay. So obviously, I'm not going to go over everything because it's big. But the first thing that I did is just to get out there, get noticed, is just go and help as many people as I could. Mine was not on LinkedIn. Like most of my time spent on LinkedIn now, but mine and in person. But mine didn't start on LinkedIn. It started in person. And I went out to as many networking groups as I could get to. And I walked in the door and I just started helping people. And that, because why I started doing that is actually the first networking group I went to, I didn't do that. And what happened was I went there like someone who had a whole heap of cards and wanted to sell some stuff. And it backfired in my face very quickly. And I learned that it was better when I went the next time and just helped a few people. And then I started connecting people to other people. And it snowballed from there. Now, where I'm really getting some traction is when I told this little story about don't being shit. And that came about because back in the day when I was... Sorry, I'm not going to time it. I'm not going to keep talking too long. Back in the day when I started doing this, I used to have teams and I would tell people in my team if they weren't doing what they needed to do, don't be shit. And that it wasn't about them being a terrible person or anything like that. They knew what to do and get on with it, basically. Now, I didn't do that at the start of my coaching journey until I realized that it's something that I needed to share. And the minute I shared it, it just blew up. To the point that one of my clients, Mark, made me this. And ever since I shared this hat, everybody loves it. And everybody talks to me about it and they want the hat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that story. You're also speaking here about how to be remembered, which I really enjoy, and you're jumping the gun a little bit, but we'll accept it there. Beatrice, what about you? Your story of invisible to invincible.
I think for a long time, I wasn't sure about what my voice was and what I really stood for. I think, with school and everything, you're kind of taught to fall into line, right? You're like, okay, I need to think in this way or agree with this is the process that you need to follow with life, and everything else is not quite the right thing. And I was lucky enough to have a manager quite some time ago, who pulled out, like, that voice out of me. And since then I started exploring, and with both my parents passing away, it was just really a click where I was like, you know what? If something comes up, I'm not going to veer away from it. I'm going to lean into it. I'm going to try it, because I would rather have that experience and see what comes out of it than have that regret. And a lot of what has happened has just led me, like, one step at a time of I've made this decision, and is really recognizing that voice, really recognizing what my values are and what's important to me, and what that childlike voice is, which I recognized, a couple of weeks ago. I know it's super recent as well. It's like the creative ideas that you see in the posts, like, Cinderella's brand strategy and all that. When I was a little kid, I used to make up songs and do like little designs and all that, and that disappeared because of all those constraints by society, all that schooling, all everything that life throws at you. You need to be serious. You need to handle these things. You don't have time to be creative. You don't have time for imagination. And that's all really started to come back and grow. So I guess it's a process.
I love that. That's what a great transition that we didn't even plan. I'll go next, and I love that you kind of prompted me that way, because my story is a little bit similar in the sense of I kind of built my identity in school, and I think a lot of people can resonate in this story where when you're first in school, it's the worst thing you want to do is stand out. You don't want to be weird. You don't want to be the person getting the lowest grades. Sometimes you don't even want to be the person getting the highest grades. But I remember that school taught me to be very comfortable with being the dumbest person in the room, quotes, right? And how I went from being invisible to invincible was being okay with the fact that I didn't know everything. And since I was so comfortable being the kid with the lowest grades and the kid that needed the most help, when I got into the freelance space, I was asking a ton of people if they needed help, or asking for advice. I was like, hey, I need advice. I want to do this. I need advice. And I cannot tell you how quickly I made relationships, because people in the invincible space love helping other people. And whether that's an arrogance and an ego trip, regardless, it doesn't matter, because when you need money and you need resources, relationships and networks are super important. And so for me, it was kind of in that same tangent of just like accepting myself and learning to be okay with standing out and being the person that asked for help. So that's beautiful. Our stories are very nicely put, and I'm super excited to obviously see all of us continue to share more, because more stories, more relationships. But let's go ahead and then now move into what to do to get seen. And again, remember, team, to interject whenever you want. And then also shout out to everybody that's already here. Gonna go ahead and just say what's up to Cody, who's Naeen, Ellen, Beverly, Ashita, Rachel, Lulu. Thank you everyone for jumping in. Remember, we're going to be giving away some goodies, so keep the comments coming, keep asking questions too. I'm tracking. Don't think that you can type faster than me, because I'm tracking. But in order to get seen, we have a question here for you, Michael, from Ellen. You were mentioning how you were helping people when you were getting started. As you speak into like what you were doing to get seen, can you also just speak about a little bit about your superpower too, of like what was it that you were good at, and what was your helping, to use Ellen's words?
Perfect. All right. That's a good segue. So, one of the things that I've learned over the last couple of decades is that in small business, people are doing the same thing over and over again. And while they're quite good at, let's say, their craft, they don't necessarily have exposure to business as a whole. Whereas my whole life has been going through every different aspect of business. It's like I had my first job in a small business when I was 11. And then by the time that I was 18, I had a team of 8 people doing 3 million in revenue. And then it just progressed from there. So I had a ton of experience. Then when I was going out and I was into my coaching journey, all I would do is go in and I'd talk to people about, hey, how you going? What's happening in your business? And what generally happens is you ask enough questions, people go, oh, I've got this challenge. So the minute that I found out they had a challenge, I just started asking more questions and got curious about it. And then I would come up with a suggestion of something that I've experienced before and say, hey, have you tried this? Or what if you did this? And then just layer it down and just give as much value as I could with zero expectation in return. And funnily enough, that's how I do all of my lead generation now as well. It's not even just about rolling in and helping people anymore. That's my lead generation strategy. I just rock up and I help people first. And then if they want to work with me, perfect. If they don't, that's okay.
I want to ask a little sub question, if I may.
Absolutely.
What kind of gave you the confidence to ask those types of questions? Because I mean, for me, what came up for me during that story is like sometimes it's so even hard to build the confidence to ask someone, "Hey, what do you need?" Do you feel like that confidence is already innately inside of you, or like, what's the story behind that?
I've had teams of 300 people. So I I've had to work through that. So I think probably, and I'm going to call it an advantage that I've had, is that by the time I was 21, I had a team of 178 people. So I've had a lot of years talking to a lot of people and dealt with a lot of challenging situations. So it is. It's still not easy to have conversations, right? Like, I'm not going to say that when you walk up to someone you don't know, you still sometimes don't get the butterflies and stuff like that. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. And it just starts with, you don't make it about you. You make it about the other person, because all the fear, all the nerves, everything like that, that's about you. But if you go out there, and something that I'll talk about when we talk about some of the other things, but just as a quick segue, is if you make it about other people and you go, okay, I'm going to go help one person, suddenly you start asking questions to go help a person. And it's about them, not you.
Very good point. I like that a lot. Like I've realized that too, of like the mindset of like an individual and thinking of the community. Amazing. Remember, anyone ask questions as you guys hear these stories come out. And then Beatrice, it's so funny as Michael goes, "Don't make it about you," and then I see this point here about being different and making it about you and how to stand out. But in this conversation of what to do to get seen, yeah, what's kind of your strategy here of I wrote down here being different. What does it mean to be different?
It means not trying to pick something that's cool, but actually diving into what makes you you, be it like your brand, your business, etc. It's still a brand, right? Regardless of whether it's a business or a person. Like, there will always be something about you that's going to be different from another person. And I don't mean like, I do this better, or I offer this feature where others don't, or the quality is so much better. Somebody else across the road can say the exact same thing. So to me, it's about leaning into that differentiation. And okay, not everyone is going to do like badass, right? Like that's me. That's who I am. That's what I embody and I portray, be it online on LinkedIn or in person on Zoom or anywhere that I am. Like, that's who I am. But everybody's going to have a different thing. So like, Michael's got don't be shit, and it's just something that you need to dig into to really pull out what makes you really unique. Like, it's not the first few things that come up. It's the things that come up later on in the discussion, or even things that people keep on mentioning about you. You don't even recognize, and they're like, oh, wait, hang on a second. You know what? Like, this seems to come up a lot. I need to pay attention to that. So it's either, what people are talking about you, like in a positive way, usually, and what's that something that keeps on coming back for you, be it like your childhood. Since you were like a kid, you've always been interested in this thing. So that is what I mean by differentiation. And it's leaning into that hard wherever you are, not just I'm going to mention it in my why, or I'm going to talk like that on my website. You need to put that consistently everywhere. And that's why, badassery or my brand, it's different. It's people recognize it, be it like from the pop culture side or from the badass side, or the sunglasses, or the baseball bat, even though I don't play baseball, but like the idea of it.
Oh, she plays baseball. She plays
with people, yeah.
Yeah, just watch your knees. Like,
I love that. I mean, let me ask you another question in here to Beatrice to add another B point. So, in terms of getting that feedback on, what are your, badassery traits, what can you recommend to people? I mean, how long does it take for someone to, because what you're speaking about here is something that I've only recently experienced, where you're around certain people and they're very good at calling out like what you're good at. How can you recommend maybe a practical exercise or something that somebody can do to kind of just like do a litmus test on their traits? Because I think what you're doing here is like speaking about a North Star where people kind of keep saying things about you. Hey, this is your North Star. Follow this. This is like a core value. How would you recommend someone find one of those things about themselves?
So North Star wise, I had a brilliant podcast session with Michael about that. So check that out. Um, small world, right? Small world. But in terms of really diving into what makes you different by discussing with other people, I'm not sure who I heard it from, but it was a recent podcast or YouTube video that I saw, but it is really amazing, is that you talk to a really close friend, not a family member, not like somebody who sort of half knows you, and you ask them, okay, why are we friends? What about me like resonates with you? And you have to dig through several layers of, things that people say often about other friends, like, oh, you're reliable. Yeah, you could say that about a car as well, right? So you need to dig past those layers, and those final answers that you get are really telling about who you are as a person and what makes you different from somebody who knows you really well, but not on a family sort of level. If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, definitely be careful who you go around asking that to, especially if they're in your family.
Are there any stories that we should know about?
Oh, I got stories. What do you want to hear? I mean, so I come from a very traditional background in terms of like my family's very Dominican. We were born in the Dominican Republic. So, like, even in my own mindset, when I thought about becoming a creative, I was like, how are they going to pay their bills? I was like, why would you, what is a creative, And then so even when I started, wanting to step into my entrepreneurial path, my family Like it was like a different language to them. I mean, I love my family, but I would say about 5 years ago, we were very good at being poor. And if there was anything I tried to do to become wealthy, it was like so scary to them. So I can't imagine going to my mom 5 years ago and like, Mom, what do you think is my superpower? Like, what do you think is the thing? She'd be like, going to college. You can go to college, getting a
It,
job, getting a real job.
I totally want to jump in on the back of that if I can.
Do it, please.
Yeah, that like it's such a common thing, like with especially with your family, is because they want to keep you safe, right? And it's
Yeah.
scary, and you're going out and doing something that's tough. And when I was starting up my coaching business, especially my mom, they were like, "No, like don't do that. Like you've got this amazing job, you've got all these things going on. Like don't do that. It's not a thing that you should do." Here's the funny thing. I consult to our family business now. Like, and I've been coaching my dad, not just like before I was consulting to them for well over 12 months. And it was about 3 months ago that mum turned around to me and goes, "Oh, we really should have been doing this with you sooner." So like it's really hard because that's your family. They want to keep you safe and they will see it once you've made it. Can be even harder with the people around you as well. Like, because people, it, especially those people that are close to you, like sometimes they don't think that you can do things because they can't do it.
Mhm.
And I do know where you saw that strategy. Well, this way, Patrice, is it's a Simon Sinek.
Yes, that was the one. That was the one. My God, Instagram, right? But it's interesting, like that is also the reason why I focus so much on pushing against those societal norms, because we have like families and people in our lives who are just like, this is not what we're used to. And because they're not used to it, it's out of their comfort zone. They try to push against it. And you're fighting with them until you finally see success. And I feel like a lot of people, even on the live right now, probably have had this same journey with their parents, with friends, etc., saying, I'm not sure about that. Maybe you should play it safe. Maybe you should get like a job, so that you have a steady income. Or just play it safe with this thing. Don't go there just yet. You can do it, but not right now.
You know, I heard a fantastic quote the other day from this guy that I watch on TikTok called Bashar, and he said that family is your your bouncing board. What you're supposed to do is not stay next to them, is bounce away from them. Now, mind you, I don't want to project my trauma onto anyone. If you have an amazing family, keep them. Okay. Keep your family if they're good. Um, but I think one thing, especially when I speak about like what's my kind of what I do to get seen, my whole thing was being extremely optimistic. And what I've also learned is that when people have innate in their DNA and their family history not to take risks. There's this great story of essentially five monkeys. One of them climbs up to get a banana, and then the scientists hose down all the monkeys. Eventually, the monkeys learn if you climb up to get the banana, you're going to get hosed down. They take out one of the monkeys, put in a brand new monkey, and then that monkey too also gets attacked, even though he doesn't know that they're getting hosed down. Eventually, all the monkeys are new monkeys, and nobody wants to climb to the top because they all innately feel in their DNA that if they climb up, they'll get hosed down, even though they've never seen the water. And so when you're speaking of family, they don't know because we all have blind spots. They have innately inside them, they want to bring down the monkey trying to climb up for the banana because they're afraid of the getting hosed down, even though they've never seen it. And so my superpower, to quote Beverly here, everyone has a superpower. My superpower now is getting started was being optimistic. And then Ashita, 100% in terms of acceptance, that's kind of exactly what I had to do because you could go around trying to be someone for the rest of your life when you should really just be yourself. And I realized that my superpower is being optimistic. And in every room that I was in, being the voice of optimism. Most ideas are great, but they never get tested because nobody's optimistic enough to test them. And so that was kind of just my superpower. And how I stayed sane. It was just being extremely optimistic and being the person in the room to like push people to actually take risks. And then honestly, too, is how I stay remembered. When it comes to all of my long-term relationships now, people constantly come to me and they're like, as you guys know, and we've spoken about personal branding here before. My biggest challenge is picking one thing. It's like spirit coach, video edits, graphic designing. I like to do a little bit of everything, but what I've realized is that my relationships, I love when they come to me and they say, "Hey, Sandy, I have this crazy idea. Help me make it possible." And yeah, I can use the skills that I have, from video editing, videography, flying drones, setting up YouTube channels, podcasts, all that stuff. I get to be the person that is just optimistic and helps amazing things get done. And I really, really love that. And so I love that mine is that because we took some notes here before because Michael has a really cool hat and Beatrice has a really cool baseball bat. But I'm super interested to ask you, especially Beatrice, like when it came to your whole branding experience and even just like your experience of working through different partnerships and collaborations. I think obviously a lot of people will remember you just for who you are already. But what was your pull to the baseball bat and your pull to branding yourself as like a badass kangaroo?
Well, that one was more. I'll start with the kangaroo. That one was more incidental. There was this time, I think it was late last year, where everyone started putting the little emojis next to their names. And so I did a poll at that time. I was like, okay, what kind of animal, like what kind of creature should I put next to mine? And one of them was like a kangaroo. And I was like, well, because I'm Australian and all that, right? And it was almost unanimous. Everyone's like, just do the freaking kangaroo. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, right? And that was before I decided to start badassery and everything. So when it came to that, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna lean into that because I am Australian and that's where I was born. I grew up. Let's lean into that. And because kangaroos are so freaking badass, I mean, like they've got a kick force of 5,000 pounds or 2,000 pounds, right? So they're already badass enough as it is. I was like, let's lean into that. How can we make a kangaroo more badass? So I was like, let's give it a baseball bat and shade. So like mobster-esque kangaroo, like whatever it is, I just wanted to lean further into it. And so speaking of like crazy controversial things, how about you two? Like, have you guys done anything that's seems controversial, but then finally after you've done it, it's led to some surprising results?
Michael, you,
Sandy?
Michael, you want to set yourself up for controversial disaster first, or should I go?
Look.
He starts the conversation with look, okay.
Yeah, what did you tell me beforehand? Don't get us banned. Okay. Look, from a controversial side of things, I think there's a couple of things. The first one is that I like this is I'm going to try and be polite from this point of view. I have a few challenges with the coaching industry, right? So the first one is that most let's call them business coaches are like car salesmen. So I actually say no to more people than I say yes to. So that's like it's pretty refreshing for people, and it's a little bit controversially in the industry because there's a lot of talk about you should, like, the minute someone says yes, you should sell an emotion, And I don't do that. I actually work them through the emotion, and then when they sign up with me, it's a logical decision to grow their business. Now, that's not necessarily popular, but the second part to that, which upsets a lot of, let's say, people in the industry, is that I guarantee results. And there's a lot of talk, and there's a lot of people in the coaching industry that don't like that. But my view to it is that if someone works with me and they do the work, they're going to get results. So why wouldn't I guarantee results? So I came out with a statement of, if you work with me, I guarantee that you'll get, over this period of time, $100,000 or more to your business. And now I'm going, oh, maybe I need to up that, because everyone I'm working with is absolutely crushing that. The problem is then I've got to balance it with what's believable for people when I say a guarantee, right? So, but they're probably the two controversial things. And I still get all the time when I say, oh, I guarantee results, it upsets people all the time.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't put business coach in my tagline for today. I was thinking about it. Definitely a card. I don't remember which live it was that I said. I was talking to a group of people, and I was like, I will say just about anything to get the job. That's pretty controversial, right?
Well, can I jump in on that, because I have two things just quickly, and sorry, I know I'm
Yeah.
cutting you off, but I'll hand it back to you in a second. But like, the first one is Katrina, that is in the comments, is going, love the guarantee. She's actually a marketer for coaches. And like, we talk, and one of the things that she was saying is, when I was talking about the guarantee, she's like, no one guarantees results. So that's hilarious. And then the second part, where you go, oh, I'll say anything to get the job. Well, just do what it takes, and then you'll get it done. And it's not a problem, right? Like, just, if you're going to say, I'm going to do it, just get it done. And then no one cares, because you've done it.
Fair point. Well, I will set up a consultation after this. Don't worry. I'll give you my money. We can sort it out. What I also love is this whole emoji talk, because now I'm noticing Naveen with the mango. We have Rachel, obviously, with the lemon, Anoop with the cloud. I'm curious for everyone here, if you had to pick one emoji, and this emoji has to be from like your recently used emoji, what emoji would you guys use to rebrand yourself? If you're listening now, I'm curious, what would you guys do just to add a fun twist to it? Beatrice, what would you switch your emoji to? I would choose
This is what I would choose.
I would choose the devil with the purple horn smiling. That'd be a nice little twist. What about you, Michael?
Ooh.
This is really hard, because like, the only emoji that I really use are like the crying face emojis. So like, that's, I don't know that looks that great at the end, but let's go with that.
No, I like that. That's you crying after everybody gets the $100,000 with you.
You know what you should do, Michael? You should have like the little poop emoji for like don't be shit.
Yeah, there you go. Missed opportunity. You're right. See, that's why we have you for branding, right?
Huh? Come on.
Hold on, let me see if I can find that. I'm gonna throw it all in there. Where's the poop emoji at? I'm trying to see if I can. Well, I'll put the crying one for now. You're crying until we find the poop emoji. Let's see. What were we just going on about? I wanted to. Oh yeah, the controversial parts. Yeah, I mean, as you guys already know, I mean, a lot of what I speak about is so many different things, but I would say my most controversial thing is speaking about spirituality. It's funny because like I used to be an extreme atheist, but then I started studying the laws of like quantum physics, and then as I pursued excellence and growth, every entrepreneur I knew about had personal development rituals, and then those personal development rituals lead you to meditation. Meditation obviously starts kind of like this whole awakening thing. But I would say the most controversial thing that I speak about is spirituality. But I worked with this astrologer last year, and he said this really profound thing about branding, and how branding is an outside in perspective, whereas blooming is an inside out perspective. And so even when I work with people, I'll say just about anything to get the job. And I'm proud of that, because I know that my perspective is so unique. I don't run into many people I do a lot more now on LinkedIn, which is bizarre. Um, but when you have somebody taking the like quantum physics and spiritual things into consideration, I've noticed that people are more fulfilled. They're more acknowledged when I'm around as well. Um, the conversation of abundance is brought up a whole lot more. Sustainability is brought up a whole lot more. So my controversy is just being like, hey guys, can we all take a second to meditate? I think it'll really help this meeting. Can we all take a second to meditate? Look at all the beautiful emojis. We got a cat, we got a butterfly, we got a check mark. I like that one. But yeah, that's my controversy. Is at least now we'll see what it used to be, that my nickname, my brand was Chimpino. So I had a bunch of my white friends calling me Chimpino, and that was interesting, especially in group settings.
What's the story behind that? I'm like, I
Oh,
have no idea.
oh, you want to hear more of the trauma? Okay.
Oh
So
no.
my parents were getting divorced in middle school, and I was learning about depression for the very first time. And I found it so funny because at that point I was learning about evolution in class, and I was like, look at all these humans with all these problems. Like, do monkeys get upset when their parents separate? And so I became obsessed with just like this whole concept of evolution and how we come from monkeys and how monkeys are just chilling, walking around naked and just eating bananas. And so I wanted to take this whole perspective of Chimpino, of being just super grateful and finding joy in every moment, because human problems are kind of silly. Um, so that, any more questions, Beatrice? Do you want me to call in my therapist so we can talk to my therapist?
I mean, you can like pay me instead of them. It's fine. Like I can
Okay,
cover
got
it
it. I'll
all.
send you. So Beatrice, you send me the invoice. Michael, you send me the invoice, and we'll get some results after this phone call.
1 hour guaranteed. That's our guarantee.
Guaranteed results. Guaranteed results.
Guaranteed results.
Oh, dang! I'm gonna be making 200,000 after this call. All right, excellent. We got Ellen in here supporting the Witch Vibes. Appreciate you. I had an amazing call with Ellen yesterday. She's awesome. All right. So then now let's move into how to stay remembered. No, no, no. We already covered that. Let's move into now the different aspects of this space, because obviously, as I told you guys before, I love making these things super practical. And when it comes to the conversation of accepting yourself so you can be unique, so you can be remembered, so that you can lean into your superpower and get people amazing results, what are the nitty gritty details of your guys' strategy right now on these different platforms? Michael, I know that you said you're a ghost on Instagram, so I'm excited to talk to you about that. And then Beatrice, obviously you're a queen of LinkedIn. What is your guys' current strategy and what you're looking at in terms of these different platforms and avenues? Because you guys are already amazing, and you guys attract so much attention and so much magic. But what is kind of like your strategy, and how do you even come up with your strategies for these different platforms, and what you're going to be doing at least for the next year? Michael, I'll throw it to you. You look like you're thinking about it already.
Yeah, I was actually. Okay. So what my whole so LinkedIn, when we talk social media, and social media isn't actually my primary, it's a secondary, but it will expand out because obviously it's a lot more reach. So from a strategy purpose, when I started really getting after LinkedIn, which was January, February, and getting behind it, it's not for this year. It's not for now. It was never built to get leads from the platform today. It's for 10 years from now. When I have all the coaches coming through, I need the personal brand. We have leads coming through, and then I can filter the leads through. And that's how I started with that. So how I was making myself remembered and how I use LinkedIn comes to networking in person. The biggest, I think, for anyone starting out, the quickest way that you can do anything is go do it in person. That's my belief. Other people have other different beliefs, but that's what I believe. So for me, it was how many local networking groups can I find? How many can I go to in a week? How many people can I go meet in person? And then as I was going through that, and I discovered that, okay, the best way is to help people, It was how many people, when I went through the door, could I help? Now, when I first started doing that, it was just about rocking up and going and pretty much walking up to people. Hey, how you going? I'm Michael. And like then starting a conversation kind of thing, right? This is what I do. This is what I believe in. What do you like? And getting down the rabbit hole with them. What I learned was it's a lot easier to do that if you do preparation beforehand. And one of my mentors was talking to me about the story when he was in a room with Tony Robbins in like the select group. And he's like, do you want to know the secret? Do you want to know the secret? Do you want to know the secret? And he's getting progressively low and everyone leans in and then he screams at them preparation. And like, so that I always get told about it from my mentor, and it's still the conversation that comes up is preparation. So now for in-person networking, what I actually do is I want to know who's going to be in the room. And then I want to know something about people that are in the room. And I saw someone asked about how, earlier in the chat, how do you start conversations with introverts? Know something about them that they care about. That's how you start conversations with anyone. And then I can also go, oh, what problems could those people already have? So then when you're talking through them, you've already potentially got an idea of, so you're not necessarily pulling things out of a hat on the spot. You've already got a pre-preparation. Then you're solving problems at a higher level. So do people remember you? Absolutely, because you're the guy that walked in and then suddenly you've solved a problem that they're like, oh yeah, I've been thinking about it all the time. And you've rocked up with a solution for it. Then I've taken it to the next step, which is I'm not just trying to do that. I'm also going, okay, when I walk in the room, how many people can I connect to someone else? Because the true value in networking is actually connecting people to other people. And that's how you really get remembered because, oh, Michael connected me to this person. Oh, and Michael connected me to this person. And then what happens is reciprocity starts kicking in and everyone wants to help you as well. And if you keep helping people, it gets to a point where, like, and I'm going to say it like this, but it gets uncomfortable for them because you keep helping and you're doing it without any expectation. And we're hardwired to want to help back. It's like if you go and someone pays for your lunch, next time you want to be the person paying for lunch. That's just a social norm. So that's all hardwired in. So what I've done and how I've made myself remembered and invincible, so to speak, is I just go and I help people. And then how do I help people on more scale? When I can speak in front of groups of people, I just go in with what is practical steps that can help as many of these people that they can walk away and implement. And just quickly, one of the things I just did a 15-minute talk a couple of weeks ago. And I went in and I gave 6 strategies that everyone in the room could go and do. And then instead of trying to put flyers and buy my service or anything like that, I had a QR code that they could scan to a document that had no other details on except a fully fleshed out of each of those strategies that they could just go straight down the list and implement the strategy. And that was it. And like, so I'm just going and helping people at a higher level than anyone else. Now, how does that tie back into LinkedIn? Well, if I see someone in a networking group, I only see them, let's say once a month, maybe once a week if I'm lucky. But if I get them onto my LinkedIn, which I get everyone I can onto my LinkedIn, they then see me at least 2 or 3 times a week as well. So by the time I see them again the next month, they've actually seen me 12 times. And then we have conversations ready to go because, oh, I saw this on LinkedIn. Oh, that was really cool. I really loved that post. And that's how I'm working my social media. That's how I'm nurturing the guys. And that's how I make myself rememberable.
I love that. I love that. That's very cool. And again, I love how even in that I can find some of the things that I see as well of like, like what you said earlier, don't make it all about you. Think about them and what they need. And it's almost like the ideas come to you in terms of how you can be prepared to help them, and think about it from that perspective. It's a really nice cheat code. And I hope everybody wrote that down. And then I think obviously I'm going to throw it into Beatrice next, but I want to know also too from everyone here, what's kind of your preferred way to connect with people right now? Is it the Zoom calls? Is it over the phone? Is it live stream events like this, Instagram? Very curious to kind of know where everybody's head is at. And then what about you, Beatrice, in terms of this whole conversation? What are you looking at in terms of the space and your current tactics of becoming visible?
So, I mean, it's already very much there in terms of visibility, and that's just through constant, like, I'm on LinkedIn pretty much living, breathing on it. But to me, and it's very similar to how Michael approaches it, is that I take it more as like my first thing is to have a conversation, be it in the comment section or in the DMs. Yes, like, my replies are going to be more lighthearted and conversational because it is a social media platform and we are all humans. We're not like, sitting behind our desks in suits going, what formal way shall I introduce myself to you? Like, the way that you see me in the comments or in the DMs is what you get in reality. And I want to make sure that everybody understands that whatever touch point, that's what they're going to expect when they do finally, work with me or reach out to me or have a conversation with me, right? I'm not there to try to cold pitch something to them. Yes, if it does end up going in that direction, fabulous. But I love to, like, build those connections and see where things can go from there. Like what are the commonalities? Because a lot of people on LinkedIn, they have the same thing where it's like we're introverted. So it's finding that little commonality, like Michael said, be it you can check their profile, the way that they've written their headline, where they're currently located. Even though I noticed LinkedIn has like taken off the damned location thing, which is irking the hell out of me. So now I have to scroll down all the way to like where they went to school and figure out that. But it's doing those things so I can have a real conversation and see where things go from there. But it is a lot about showing who I am in every place, right? And I'm definitely going to, double down on the videos because there is a big thing on LinkedIn where people are like, oh, the carousels and selfies are the main thing. But to me, thus far over the 8 months of this year, almost 9 months, out of my top 5 posts, 3 of which are video. That's how strong it is.
Huge. I love how the vision that I had while you were speaking was the three of us playing at a playground. Was just like, hey, do you guys want to play? You guys want to play kickball or something? Because what and this is a great segue into kind of like my perspective of social and what I do. It's a very big conversation of abundance, and I think that technology and social media has empowered each of us to be useful in our own unique ways. And so, regardless of what profession you're in or how professional you are, how much money you make, the masses and everyone is becoming so empowered and so self-educated that we can all kind of feel when we're being sold, or we can kind of now all feel when the other person is trying to get something from you. And so that's why I had this vision of us being at a playground, because regardless of who you are, where you come from, all that stuff, it's like we just want to play and we just want to have a fun time, silly fun time. Right. And so I think we should have used the banner of just like us of all, instead of being at a bar and promoting alcohol, we should have been at the playground. We should have been at the
Hey,
playground.
look, this is adult
That's the next
version
one.
of playground. Right? Adult playground is at a bar.
This is an adult playground. I feel that. And just to piggyback off of what you were saying, Michael, like I learned that lesson. I was like super prepared for this one big project I was going to go to Indonesia for. And I showed up to my flight and I didn't have all the documents I needed. And I had to miss the flight. And in my mind, all I could think of was happiness is on the other side of preparation. Like, happiness is on the other side. Like, if you want the results that you want, you know that they will make you happy, prepare for those results. And that's where happiness lies, is on the other side of, those, that preparation. But yeah, my whole strategy with these social medias, and guys, if you everyone listening to, take this time. We're gonna be wrapping up here in the next 10 minutes. Take this time to prepare any questions that you guys have for any of the speakers here. Let's kind of pivot into a Q&A. And then if any of the speakers have any questions for anyone else, feel free. We'll jump into that after this. But my whole mindset is abundance, especially with social media. Like Michael is saying, it's like he's thinking 10 years out. Beatrice is thinking about genuine and real relationships. As we think about the problems that professionals will solve for the next 5 years, it'll be very much based on creativity and relationships. If Michael and Beatrice and I committed to like building something super, super challenging over the next few years, I have to know that the relationship is there, that even through the challenging times that are inevitable, we will still get the job done and still respect each other. And so for me, it's just a conversation of abundance, of like, how can I take care of myself? How can I treat everyone with respect because I treat myself with respect? And how can I build genuine relationships off of everyone winning, not just me trying to get the sale? And so that when you think about it like that, and that's your North Star, we were speaking about North Star earlier, when that's your North Star, you have an abundance of relationships coming to you. You have an abundance of work coming to you, and you can remove the anxiety and the stress that is so distracting, and you can do your amazing, unique work that will keep everyone coming to you. And Michael, also too, to finish up what you were saying, like, I think that everything we see on social media is recreated from what happens in person anyways. We're trying to create and divide the human into these little social medias and strategies and software. So if you're a good person and you're great at connecting with people in person, you'll be great at connecting with people online. But with that, I mean, I feel like, we did an amazing call today. I want to obviously again open it up to questions, and any questions from the speakers as well. This was amazing.
While
Well,
we're looking for some questions, I'm going, Patrice. Me
go,
first.
go.
Um, just quickly to wind off on that part is like, if you're thinking about what to post on social media, and we're just talking about conversations and in life and real stuff, most of my content, if like 95% of it literally comes from coaching sessions or the conversations that I have at networking with the problems I'm solving. That's where all my content comes from. And then because I'm just keeping on the conversations that I've been having, that's how I have more conversations.
Beatrice, were you
Yeah. I was like, wait, hang on. What? No.
Are you
Like, I
drinking
was
the tequila or
prepared,
am I
and I
drinking the
wasn't
tequila?
prepared, and I was like, okay, what are your guys' thoughts, or what do you guys do regarding trends, market trends? Like, say for example, um, okay, so this year, or in the this year and last year, there's been a lot of big businesses using nostalgia campaigns as a part of their marketing, right? And I've included that in quite a lot of my posts because I see that as something that people can take it to use on their own part. And the same thing for, the 18th century or Victorian era, in TV shows, in books. A lot of people, like a lot of businesses, are using that, and it's something that I do include. But there'll be like hypes, mini hypes, where I'm just like, no, this is too small of a trend. I'd rather see something where people can use it for a longer period, and that's what I mean in terms of trends.
Michael, you want to take that?
Depends how much bandwidth you have. I think that's what it really comes down to. Trends are fantastic for driving traffic, because the thing about trends is that's what, like, assuming it's a trend that's in your industry that your clients and prospects and everything are interested in, that's like they're interested in it. Why aren't you interested in it? Right? Like, that's what I think about trends, but it comes to bandwidth. You don't have to jump on every single trend. You need to understand what you can and what you can't do. And the things that you can do, double down on it. And the things that you can't, that's okay.
Yeah, that's kind of my mindset too. Is just like have fun with it. I like to think about like, okay, well, where are these trends coming from? Because the more you look, the more you will find. So like, the more you look at Instagram and LinkedIn, you're like, these people are getting better results than what I'm getting. Even the people that get a ton of great results that we all look up to, they're looking at someone else. And so this whole mindset of like, I need to follow trends to grow, or I need to do something, or I need to get on this. It's like, again, I think it's all about bandwidth and what can you play with? Like, what can you have fun with, especially when you think about this whole concept of sustainability. You don't want to burn out. And so I like to think about where are these trends coming from? And I think that it comes from like this level of genius that we can all tap into when you're like relaxed and when you are in this abundant mindset of like, well, of inspiration and flow, honestly. Like, I like to think of myself and ask myself of like, well, what's my trend, and how can I create a trend, and how can I be a leader in this space? It's more challenging, but again, it's a conversation of what's your bandwidth, because if you find a unique way to recreate trends, and now you can recreate trends in 30 minutes, it's different for everyone there. But great question, Beatrice. I have a question. I wanted to ask you guys, in terms of what I'm focusing on right now is when looking at the space, offer creation. What is your guys, whole relationship with offer creation, and how do you guys come up with new offers?
Do you want me to take this one? Yeah. Okay. All right. So, what problem are you solving for is the first thing, right? And then the second thing is I'm going to talk to the mistake that I see most people making when they create offers. Is when they create an offer, they want to build out like a massive course and they want to have everything right. And they want to have it perfect. And then they want to take it to market and then no one buys it. I'm going to tell you to do the counterintuitive thing. Go sell it first and go test it in the market first. Yeah, and that's what I think with offer creation is really understand what the problem you're solving for, understand what your clients need, put something together, and then test, 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 test. And it's okay. Like if you haven't created it, it's okay if it doesn't land because then you can test again. And we've just done this recently with one of my clients. We put 15K profit into their hot little hands in 6 days just by doing that process. So that's my thoughts on it.
Awesome. Beatrice, what about you?
In terms of offers, I think it's not, it's more of like a matter of playing with it. Don't just set it and then just leave it kind of thing. I mean, I feel like adjust it according to see what people are saying, right? Test it out with, hey, look, guys, I'm thinking about doing this. What are your thoughts? Or do a poll. Like, if I do something like this, would you like to see it like this, or this? So then you're getting a firmer idea of what will actually work. What do people really want? Because yeah, like sure, you might want to do one thing, but will the people really need it? Will they really want it? Will they really care? Right? So checking with people, be it like having conversations with mentors, friends, or in the comment section, or doing posts on social media where people are going to be interacting, even if it's only a few, at least it gives you an idea of what you're after. I was speaking to someone a couple of days ago, and they were like, "Oh, you know, now that I'm talking to you about this, like, this will be a fun thing to include. I'm like, why don't you? Like, I would go with something like that. Just do a poll. And they're like, oh, but I wasn't sure, if people are going to reply. And I'm like, even if you get a few people to reply, it's still going to give you an indication of interest. And you know what? They did that poll and like there was a significant interest. And I was like, seriously? Now go do it.
I love that. I love how you guys are both saying almost very similar things in terms of like, and this is something I notice in really great leaders too. I feel like really great leaders are great at knowing when to lead and when to get out of the way. And so it's also very affordable too, by the way, everyone listening to, it'll save you a ton of money if you test first. A really great book I read was Ready, Fire, Aim. Like if you feel ready and good about an idea, fire after you see where it lands, then adjust your aim. It'll save you a lot of money if you have millions of funding. Maybe you try it a different way, but I would recommend the same thing as everyone is saying here, and then allow yourself to be humble enough to calibrate the solution, meet people where they're at. I feel like I've been trying to summarize this live stream into a few notes. And what I've got so far, I'm so curious to hear what you guys think, is accept your weirdness and use it to help people get results they care about. Remind them of your unique help, make it about them, and learn about what they care about. Be humble enough to listen to yourself and others, right? I think about becoming invincible and coming from a place of being invisible is knowing where you're at and where other people are at, and being humble enough to, when recognizing your abilities, to understand that it's not about you, it's about how you can help others. What do you guys think about that? Did I do a great job or did that suck? All
It
right.
was epic.
Got an okay from Michael.
On point. Yeah, on point, mate.
That feels good. I really hope everybody here had a fun time. I know I did. I know I was drinking some coffee and tequila, but nobody noticed. I had a blast. A lot of reassurance from me. I really appreciate the free consulting from Beatrice and Michael. This is all a setup, guys. This is all from me so that I can get free consulting.
Or therapy.
Or therapy, which I got both of. Really grateful for everyone tuning in. I'm going to just be going through the comments and just giving a bunch of people bunch of free things. So I appreciate everybody for jumping in and engaging. And I'll let Beatrice and Michael kind of end the floor. You guys have been amazing, and I really appreciate you guys coming through.
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you. It's been brilliant. And yeah, I mean, if you guys would like any brand strategy guides, I've got a pop culture one, which is available on badasserybyb.com, or you can find it on my LinkedIn bio. I've just sent out my very first newsletter today. Whoop, whoop. So
Awesome.
sign up to that email and you'll get that pop culture guide and some really interesting perspectives for brand strategy.
I love that guide. Harley Quinn. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
From my perspective, connect with me on LinkedIn. If you have business questions, ask. You'll see tons of stuff about business, and that's what I talk about 80% of my day. So
yeah, I love how none of us are stepping on each other's toes here. It's like Michael's like business, Beatrice is like brand your business, and I'm over here like, how do you feel today? Is everything okay? Is everything fine? How can we speak about what you can let go of in order to accept abundance?
So after I kick their ass, Michael's going to sort out their business, and you'll be like, "Oh, it's okay,"
Learn to let go. Learn to let go, so you can let Michael and Beatrice help you. That's what I'm here for, guys. All right. Learn to let. If you need help learning to let go, hit me up. No, but I had a blast. You guys are very, very smart. And I think everyone here is super lucky to listen to your guys' wisdom. I already know you guys are helping me make money, so I appreciate you guys doing that. And so for everyone listening, I hope you guys also took notes. The live will be available to rewatch at any point. And if you guys want to see us do another one, let us know. We need feedback. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time on LinkedIn, Instagram, hopefully in person, right? Hopefully I run into Michael now walking around the street. And I really appreciate everyone coming through.
Thanks. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Peace.